everybody. Welcome to PowerToku Show DX, episode 13. It only took us, what, like 2-3 months to get one of these going again? But as you can see, I'm moved in, and so has Jmann. Let's switch on over to him.
Hey guys,
Yeah,
Jmann.
so you got a new place, I got a new place. We finally settled into our own places and jobs, so we should be good to go from here on in.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I feel a little bit bad that we didn't do shows when Gaim was getting so good.
I know, but...
I feel like we abandoned the viewers
Yeah.
in their time of need.
They need us to tell them what to think about the show.
Exactly. How else would they know to be sad about all the stuff that happened in Kamen Rider Gaim? We provide value to the Toku community. But
At least I'd like to think so.
I hope so. Otherwise, we're just sitting around for 2 hours talking to each other for no reason.
You know, that's actually probably accurate.
Yeah, well, we got a couple people that have commented and say they enjoyed the show, so we make a difference for a couple people out there in the world at least.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, how you been?
I have been really good. It's been
besides
busy.
Yeah.
Started my new job, moved to a new city. So many things have happened in the past 2.5 months, but things are now settling down, so that's good.
Same here. Moved in, new job and everything. I'm still moving in because I got a whole bunch of stuff to unpack. I have appliances to buy, all that fun stuff, that comes with being a homeowner.
Yeah.
I get to go shopping for a dryer. Woo!
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Isn't it, though? Isn't it? So, anyways, enough about dryers. You want to jump into our toy news? Toy talk?
Let's jump into Toy Talk.
Whatever we were calling it back in the day.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So, first up, SH Figure Arts Shadow Moon from Kamen Rider Black RX. And this is the renewal version, because they've done one before. I think Andy reviewed it, right, for the site?
No, that was Andrew.
Or Andrew, yeah, that's what I meant to say, yeah.
The VF.
The VF,
VF5SS.
Yeah, so he did an awesome job. But obviously, with the renewal body, you can do a lot more. Things just look better. This looks badass. I have to pick it up. Of course, I still have to pick up, Black and all the other ones to go with it, so.
You really should. See, the thing that's kind of weird about this is that Shadow Moon came out a good while after the original Black and Black RS SH Figure Arts. So, for the most part, this looks like it's the exact same figure, except some of the, chest and bits and pieces on the head are molded slightly different, so...
But it's got the renewal body, so I'm guessing it's going to have that extra articulation. So it's not necessarily going to be exactly the same, I guess. So I'm glad I waited. I'll pick one of these up once they come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't picked up the other Black and all those guys because I've been bad with my figures. I saw that you picked up Kachidoki Arms and yours is all open. This is mine, still in the box.
Mine is actually still just right here.
Yeah.
It's hanging out on my desk.
I've got just such a backlog of toys. It's not even funny.
That happens when you move and stuff.
Yeah.
Half of my collection is still at my parents' house, just sitting in my old room in boxes.
Yeah. Oh, I brought mine. I'm like, there's no way I'm leaving these guys behind.
I couldn't fit it. I couldn't fit it all. It was just too much.
Oh, okay. See, with me, it's an upgrade. I got a bigger place now, so where I'm at right now is just going to be the toy room / photo studio / office for me. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice once it's all set up. But my cases are empty. All I have are just boxes of stuff. Yeah, but anyways, I think I'm gonna pick one up when these guys come out. When is the release date?
The release date, I believe it was January 2015.
Cool. Just in time for my birthday.
Yep, it's going to be 4,200 yen. So, a little less expensive than the other SH Figure Arts that have been coming out recently.
Mm-hmm.
This will be a good chance for me to actually pick up a Shadow Moon, because I still haven't picked it up from the last 3 releases they've had.
And you're such a big fan of Black RX, what happened?
He was only in 2 episodes of Black RX, so...
Yeah. Yeah. Still have to get around to watching it. But
Yeah.
anyways, looks cool. Worth picking up. So jump on those pre-orders if you want to get them. Let's jump on into the next piece of news. Did I just say piece of news? Piece of news.
Pizza news.
Pizza news.
He looks like pizza.
Kinda. He's got that red sauce on him. SIC Kamen Rider O's Tamashi. What's it called?
Tamashi combo.
So
this is a mix of Tajador, Shocker, and Momotaros.
Yeah.
If you remember it from that one movie.
Is it really?
Yeah, this is a movie exclusive form where he transformed with a Shocker coin, a Momotaros coin, because Momotaros apparently turned into a coin, if I'm remembering that movie correctly. And then he transforms.
Okay. I thought this was just something they made up, to kind of drum up some business for the SIC line.
Nope.
Huh.
I believe this was from Let's Go Kamen Riders, because they were all like, we need to be all fancy and talk about the soul, hence the Tamashi thing.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Because they also came out with that Tamashi Robo. I think it was like an SRC or something. Do you remember seeing that?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, so I thought maybe it was along the same lines, but I think that was in a video game also. They put it into like one of the Super Robot War games, so kind of the same thing with this, just something made up for the toy line and, to be kind of cool, I guess.
Except
so
this was, a movie exclusive suit.
Yeah.
I believe they actually did do an SH Figure Arts of the Tamashi combo, but it was, of course, a web exclusive because it was a movie exclusive form and no one cares about it.
Well, a couple people do, and they have to charge them a whole bunch to make up for the fact that, they need to make a sculpt for it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, how does this compare to the way it actually looks in the movie?
It's more stylized. The shoulders are not as gregarious in the movie.
Okay. Looks cool though. I'm pretty sure we'll see a review from like Ghost 13 or something.
Yeah.
He loves himself them exclusives.
Yeah, but you see, this will actually be an exclusive at Tamashi Nations 2014 in the Akihabara showroom.
Oh.
So this isn't even a web exclusive.
Okay, it's a show exclusive.
This is an event exclusive figure.
Gotcha. So that's going to run you even more if you manage to get somebody to, go to the show and pick it up for you.
Uh-huh. It's going to retail for 65... Well, retail. It's going to be at that showroom for 6,500 yen.
So like about $60. But then once you figure in all the fees and stuff, it'll cost you well over 100.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This guy is going to be at least 100 if you want to get him on the secondary market.
Yeah. Then again, Ghost 13 lives in Asia, so maybe he'll just, jump on a boat and go pick one up.
Doesn't he live in Malaysia?
Yeah, that's not that far, is it?
I'm sure he could just swim over. That's fine.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's no biggie. It's like that lady that's swimming across the English Channel. It's no biggie.
Yeah, it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
Ghost 13, get out your water wings and just start swimming. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. So that's pretty much it, I think, for news. There's not a lot of Kamen Rider news up this week. Kamen Rider Drive's coming out, so that's news.
We can talk about that later because we're just gonna have to.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for news. Let's talk about reviews.
Let's do it.
Do it.
Alright guys, so our first review is Kamen Rider Gaim Orange Arms. This is the SH Figure Arts release. This review is done by Synergy. You may know him as that one guy that me and Luis can't pronounce the name to.
Yeah, even though he told us how.
Yeah, he's told us on several occasions. I think we're getting it right at this point.
Yeah.
But
he's also the guy that's been reviewing all those arms change figures for us.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of a not a step back, but sort of like an about face, because he just said that he sold off all of his arms change figures after he got the figure arts. And
he loved them. I mean, most of his reviews are pretty glowing about them.
And that's the thing. It's just that he loved this figure art so much. He sold off all of his arms change, and he's just going to get the figure arts. He said that it was better in pretty much every single category. The only negative that he has against it is that it doesn't do, the arms changing gimmick. You can't, trade out his orange for a banana or anything like that like you could on the arms change. But, I mean, that's not what this line is for.
No. It's about people that want highly detailed, highly articulated figures. I mean, even like the little sword on the belt moves, so that's how Bandai does with a lot of these figures, is the belts are really nicely detailed, and, they just, hit it out of the park.
Oh, yeah. And apparently this one is stellar.
Yeah. You know what's sad? This is another one that I own. Have still not opened it.
I don't actually own him yet.
Yeah.
I own Kachidoki arms only because I saw him at the convention and was just like, well, I guess I need to buy this now.
Yeah.
I spent way too much money on him. We'll talk about him later.
I got lucky because he was like sold out everywhere. And I think like Ami put up another pre-order.
Oh.
And then Jordan over at Toku Nation tweeted it. And as soon as I saw it, I was in class and I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to buy this. Paying no attention to what was going on. But yeah. That's how I picked mine up, the Kachidoki arms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he does an awesome job with the pictures, like always. He's just an awesome photographer.
Yeah, he is incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these days I'll be as good as him.
Yeah, it's going to take some practice. He's got a very nice setup, too. I've seen what he has, so you need some room if you want to do what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, looks great. Looks just like the character does in the show. That's one thing I really like about the figure arts. Now they're getting the proportions and the look of the characters in the show down a lot better. It looks more like a man in a suit rather than the toy of a man in a suit.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about another figure art that is brilliant like that, but yeah, these things are just so gorgeous now. Like, I was kind of complaining a year or so ago whenever they started raising the prices on the figure arts, because when the line first came out, they were around 2,500 yen a piece, and then they slowly started, raising the prices till now they're, anywhere from 42 to 4,800 yen and even higher. And at first I was complaining because I was like, guys, we used to get the same quality figures for half the price, but now they are just hitting it out of the park with detail, articulation, accessories, everything. So I think these are really worth the money now.
Yep. Worth mentioning too, if you pick up Gaim, if you picked up Gaim with the first release, you got that nice stage with the emblem of the 4 main riders, which I have, and like I said, I still haven't opened. I'm a horrible human being.
Yes, you are.
So he's got the effect parts also. I gotta pick some of those up. They're pretty nice.
Yeah, at first I wasn't sure, if I really wanted the fire effect pieces, but looking at Synergy's pictures, this is gorgeous, man.
Yeah. And they're going to be really good for, characters that actually use fire. I was thinking about like SentaiSeiya, like Phoenix Icky, or like Sailor Moon. You have Sailor Mars, that uses fire. Just be awesome to use those with the figures. Get some nice pictures out of those.
Yeah.
But, awesome pictures, as always. I mean, we don't even have to say that at this point.
Yeah. The pictures are there on the screen right now. You can see them. They are fantastic. I love the way Synergy just gets all the small nuances down of these figures. Mm-hmm. He has some crazy talent.
Yeah.
So it was a great review by a great reviewer of a great toy. So.
And you can look forward to the silhouette of this figure next coming from him as a review.
Gee, I wonder who that is.
Yeah. Reminds me of the Smash Brothers silhouette.
New challenger approaching.
Yeah.
Smash Bros. Just came out yesterday.
Yeah, I know it did. I still have... Oh, I picked it up. I ordered it from, Dell, and it's in the mail for me, so... Yeah. Baron bananas it into the fray. Yeah. So, very cool. And I think that's all I have to say about this one. Let's jump over to something else. Alright, so next is Kamen Rider O's Sagoza combo. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Sagozo combo.
Sagozo! Sagozo!
Yeah, because the Zo is elephant. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think we talked about this in the news way back when we started the show. Mm-hmm. And how it looked pretty cool. I think I asked you if it was based off a rhinoceros, and it is, because you have Sagozo, which is rhinoceros, Go is gorilla, and Zo is elephant.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. So you have those three animals. But this looks a lot crazier. I mean, again, it's stylized because it is because it is an SIC figure.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I really like, sometimes when the SIC line first started, they were like super, like highly stylized to the point where if you didn't actually know what you were looking at, there's a chance that you wouldn't actually know exactly what you were looking at. You know, it was all based on like horrific monsters and stuff like that. But recently they'd started doing it where they were slightly stylized, but it was basically just the suit with a little extra dingy details added.
Mm-hmm.
But this, they just took it to the next level. Because, I mean, look at this compared to the actual suit that was used in the show.
Yeah, it's like the suit on steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, they added the skirt armor, all that extra plating on the feet. Just, it looks completely different.
Yeah. They said, you know, this thing is made of like 3 different hulking animals. Let's make him a giant hulking animal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, looks really good. I mean, I don't think he had any complaints about the figure. He said the movement was restricted just a little bit because of the fact that it is a bigger, bulkier figure, but you kind of expect that when you buy a bigger piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just looks gorgeous.
Are we going to get caught into the trap of us just staring at the pictures without talking?
I think so.
That happens every time we're looking at a Ghost 13 review, because there's so many pictures, so much detail. You know, he takes pictures of every single thing. And so we're just sitting here staring at it the entire time. We're supposed to be talking about the review, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a show going on right now that we should be doing stuff for.
He also mentions that you have the different animal names on the body. You know, gorilla, rhino, and whatchamacallit, the other one. Which
Elephant.
I can't think of. Elephant, yeah. Also, I think he said that these are supposed to swap parts, right?
Yes.
Between the different SICs, but the bulkiness of this figure doesn't really make it possible.
Right. He said to go check out his Putotira review. You know, if you wanted to see the switching around gimmick.
The swappability, but I mean the figure, very posable. You got the Iron Man pose again. The gauntlets are removable. Is this something that actually happens in the show?
The removing the gauntlets like a rocket punch?
Yeah.
I can't remember that happening. It's possible because it's been a couple of years since I've seen O's.
Okay.
But I don't remember it happening.
Or it could just be the SIC line trying to be cool.
It could also just be Ghost 13 being like, here's a rocket punch.
Yeah. I think he
that
said
sounds like something that we'd do if we were reviewing this.
Yeah. He did also mention, though, you want to be careful if you want to take off those gauntlets, because you can break them pretty easily. There is that. This is the swapping parts thing we were talking about.
Mm.
And some more stuff.
Yeah, remember what we talked about 15 seconds ago?
About staring at the pictures?
That's just staring at the pictures without speaking.
So these are the animal parts, though, that are kind of like armor for the character. Yep. Now, is that something that happens in O's?
No, not that I know of. The only thing that had like a weird, like, mutate-y thing was Gatakiri Ba combo with his legs.
Mm.
And the octopus one, his legs split apart in that one, but nope, this one didn't do anything like that.
So there was no crazy like elephant knees and stuff.
Mm-mm. But it looks awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it goes that extra mile to differentiate this between this and the actual design. So it looks great. It makes it look even beefier.
Mm-hmm. Like
Anakin Monk.
I would just keep it like this the entire time on my shelf if I had this.
Yeah. Or on a tree.
Or on a tree.
So I can just monkey around. Awesome outside photography. I think this is the first time Ghost 13 has done some outside photography for us, so
yeah,
looks good.
Every reviewer has to do something with outside photography at some point.
Yeah. I think you just kind of have to. I mean, I get tired of just shooting in a light tent all the time.
Yeah, you know, it's nice to get a little bit of extra variation in your photos.
Fresh air. and people looking at you weird, like, why is that guy taking pictures of toys?
That happened. I actually took about 15 or 20 toys with me outside to like this small little park area on my college campus back when I was still in college, and like I just set it up on a park bench and just had this giant like toy battle, and people were like walking by like, what is that guy doing? And I'm just like, shut up, I like toys.
Funny story, when I was shooting the pictures for Akiba Red, I went to my park. There wasn't a whole lot of people. I think it was like, you know, middle of the day or whatever, but you get a couple people walking around. I think I was shooting at the baseball field, and I shot a couple of pictures with the chain link fence as the background. And so a couple people walked by. Some of them were looking at me weird and stuff because I'm just shooting at it, and I don't think they could see the toy that was sitting there on the bench. And so like 5 minutes later, the cops show up, and I was like, oh shit, time to pack it up. Because I think they thought I was taking pictures of them. Because it's just like a weird guy, you know, taking pictures through a chain link fence.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Because like I said, I don't think they could see that little, you know, 6-inch figure sitting on the bench.
You should have been like, cops, look at my sweet photos that I just took. Look, not of children.
I just didn't feel like explaining to them.
Yeah.
Because they pulled up like right in front of the parking spot right behind the chain link fence. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're here for me. Somebody must have said, hey, look, there's a weirdo out in the park taking pictures of people. And I had all the pictures I needed. I could have done a couple more, but I'm like, I just don't feel like dealing with the cops over something like this. Something so stupid.
Hey, you could have been like, hey, you should read my awesome site. It's super cool.
Yeah. Here's my business card in case you ever want to check it out. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I just didn't feel like explaining to myself. So, anyways, outside photography is good. Just don't mess with the cops. So, that's it for that review, I think.
Yep.
Awesome outside photography. You know, awesome review. Just great all the way around. Ghost 13, our resident SIC reviewer.
Yep. Now I know that I don't have to ever, like, buy any SICs, because Ghost 13's got me covered.
Yeah, you just live vicariously through his purchases.
Yep.
Yeah. Alright, so next, what do we got? Because I don't even know. Oh, this thing.
Yeah. This is by some jerkwad named Jmann.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Some dude commented it at the end. He was kind of rude to you.
God, I hate that. Oh, wait. Really? Someone was rude to me?
Yeah. We'll get to that later. But anyways.
I must not have been paying attention to comments.
Yeah. Probably not. Kamen Rider Hibiki from Kamen Rider Hibiki.
Yep.
Yeah, so tell us about this.
First off, this toy is amazing.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it to be so fantastic because I have very mixed feelings about Kamen Rider Hibiki. The show had a lot of promise. It was very different from other Rider shows because it was never intended to be a Rider show in the beginning. But, you know, it had a lot of promise. It was different. The suit designs were rocking. It was great, but there were a lot of production issues, behind the scenes. So it kind of tanked. Towards the end, it was just run into the ground, and it really left a sour taste in my mouth.
Didn't the show change, like, directors halfway through?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. So, I mean, it definitely changed the feel of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a lot of promise, and I would have been fine if they kept, you know, stuck to their guns, but they just changed it at the end, like... And we'll talk about that once we get to Hibiki in our journey through the decade, but...
Which we haven't announced yet, but, yeah. Foreshadowing by actually just straight up saying what we're doing, but anyway...
Yeah.
The articulation is superb. You know, the accessories he comes with, you know, he came with pretty much everything I would expect him to.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if he came with like an effect part of like a translucent like drum kind of thing.
So you can stick it on like a creature and have him just beat into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that would be pretty cool. It's something you could probably make on your own, and it's something that's not necessarily necessary for the figure, but
I
It
mean,
would
he
have
comes
been
with
neat to have like a pre-order bonus or something like that with him.
I mean, he comes with the tuning fork and the animal discs or whatever those things are called.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
The disc animals.
Yeah.
And he just, I can't get over how great this figure looks.
Yeah, I mean, we're going back to. Go ahead.
No, you continue.
I say we're going back to the fact that these look like the actual suit actors represented in toy form.
I had said for several years, why don't we have a figure art Hibiki yet? And I'm like, it's because obviously they don't like Hibiki, so they don't want to spend any time, making an SH figure arts. But now that they've done this, they have just made me care about a character that even his own show couldn't make me care about.
What about his appearance in Decade? Did that make you care about him?
It did a lot to sort of ease the grossness of the ending. Because that was what they were trying to do. They were trying to just put a Band-Aid.
It was like an apology for how they screwed up.
Not to mention that Kamen Rider booty.
So, yeah. How many shots of Kamen Rider booty do we have? 1, 2, 3.
There's a lot.
Yeah. 4.
There's a lot. There is a lot. It's because the way the figure works, you can shift the the torso forward a little bit so it makes his butt stick out like, I don't know, like Nicki Minaj or something. And so I just sort of went with it.
Yeah. So one of the commenters said, we should come up with a new fetish category just for you. Common booty.
Oh, yeah. That
or Rider
jerk.
booty, I think. Yeah.
What was his name? SentaiSeiya?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, God, I hate that guy.
Yeah. Watch tonight. There's going to be a new category. Rider booty.
Rider booty. I should add that as a fetish.
Yeah. It's going to feature only reviews by you. Yeah.
Like earlier when we first started talking about this review, when you said someone was being rude to me, I thought you were being like...
Serious? No.
Like in the last hour since I had last looked at it, I'm like, was someone being a jerk in the comments?
Nah. We have a pretty good, community at CollectionDX. We don't really talk a lot of crap.
Yeah, that's why I thought that was so weird, because that's not something I expect on CollectionDX. It's something I expect on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in this video, I'm sure there's going to be lots of jerks.
Yeah. Making fun of that Rider booty. That should be the name of the episode.
I know there's not going to be any jerks that watch this episode, because if you watch this episode, you're immediately a very cool person, and I love you.
From the bottom of his heart.
And the top.
Ooh, hey, that's extra special. All right. So, great toy. Mine's in the mail. Like everything else is going to come in and sit there for like 6 months.
Until you get a chance to touch it.
Yeah. All right. So, that is that. I think we have one more, right?
Nope.
That's it?
Yep.
Holy crap, you ran through everything.
Yep.
So, the second to last part of the show is going to be Showtime.
So let's go ahead and go into Showtime.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so for the shows this week, we are not talking about anything else except for Kamen Rider Gaim. This is going to be less of a recap and more of a how we felt about, the series going forward. This is just our thoughts and feelings and passions.
Yeah.
And our tears and blood. And and more tears.
Odds are, if you're watching this show, you've already seen these episodes. And if not, don't watch this because there's some big spoilers.
Like that one, the one that's on the screen right now.
Yeah. Takatora. Not dying, though.
Yeah, that...
See?
In my mind, that sort of ruined a lot for me.
Yeah.
Because... that was really the point where Michi could no longer, move
Turn
away
back.
from what he had done.
Yeah.
At that point, he had worked against humanity, and he was a jerk, and he ruined everything, and everything was basically his fault. But it could still be construed as, he's just a dumb kid.
And he had co-inspired to have his brother killed, but he never actively was involved in that process. But, so, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fact that the show pulled its punches at the end. It was going super strong, you know, no holds barred. We don't care who dies. It's just going to go down. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. And they're like, oh, we got to, you know, round it out, make it happier, put a little bow at the end of it so it's not, you know, as dark as I think they intended.
Yeah, it really felt like Takatora not being dead sort of... It felt like they just sort of pulled it out of nowhere. Like, there was no hints. Like you see him, you know, his suit is dead, you know, he dehensions, and you see him sink into the abyss. And it's just like, that's it, he's done. He's dead.
You know what, though? I was thinking about this for the episode when we were going to talk about it, and we ended up not doing it. There was a hint, though. He was killed into the water, which in Kamen Rider is a trope for not actually dying.
Yeah.
He was... I mean, but I was like, oh my god, they actually broke the trope. They're getting away from that. He's going to actually go into the bottom of the water. We're never going to see him again. And then subsequently, he becomes a ghost that, you know, haunts Michi, even though that's probably just in Michi's mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have preferred Takatora staying as a figment of Michi's just broken, you know, fragmented mind. He doesn't even know where to go anymore. He just served way better that way as, you know, kind of like that, whatchamacallit, like the devil's advocate to Michi's character inside of his mind. Yeah. I mean, it was great because it also shows that Michi knew what was wrong. He knew he wasn't in the right because he's the one seeing it. So obviously his brain processes it. He's thinking about the fact that he's screwing up. I mean, he's not arguing with his brother's ghost. He's arguing with himself.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was awesome. Everybody was like looking at Michi like, who's he talking to? Like, he's just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then they unkilled Takatora.
Yeah, that kind of cheaped the ending. However, I did think that they were, you know, since Kota got his Space Jesus fruit salad powers, you know, I thought for sure he was going to be like... What?
That was just great the way you described it.
Anyway, so yeah. I thought Kota was going to be like, I have the power to recreate the world in, you know, however I want. I'm going to recreate the world without the invest, and I'm going to bring all of my friends back, and everything's going to be happy, and no one's going to be able to remember all this conflict, and everyone's going to be happy. I thought that's what they were going to do. But then Kota was just like, nope, I'm going to go to space.
Yeah.
And everyone who was dead besides Takatora stayed dead.
Which is, I guess it was good, because, I mean, Kamen Rider's done that whole happy ending where everything reverts back before. Mm-hmm. We had that in Ryuki where, like, hey, everybody's magically, like, back to their normal lives and nobody really remembers anything.
Unless you watch episode final and you just use that as your ending to Ryuki.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah. And, oh, that was so dark.
It was cool. I mean, it'd be cool if they did something similar to that, you know, for Gaim, where they did, like, just a special movie. Because the writer for this show, he's known for just his really dark writing and just really good storytelling. And, I mean, I understand why they pulled their punches in a way. You know, going forward, they probably want to have, you know, some of these characters come back in the movies and all that stuff. We've seen it before where you can't kill off a popular character because you want to see him again.
Right.
That makes sense in a business aspect, but at the same time, you know, as a fan that really enjoyed...
Continue.
Go ahead. I would say, as a fan that really enjoyed the show and just how it broke tropes, it really wanted to stand on its own, just be really good storytelling. I mean, it still had to sell toys, but at the same time, it really captured the essence of, you know, like a good battle between different Kamen Riders. There's just a lot of good dynamics. For them to throw it away at the end just was a little cheap.
Yeah, I agree. Especially because there are always ways around character deaths for special one-off movies. Like, just pull a decade and pull an alternate universe. And be like, this is an alternate universe of the Gaim world where the characters that you love didn't die. And they can do it that way.
And now that you mention it, there was those alternate paths. Because Mai sees the different, you know, paths that could have been taken. Because we had that, in the first episode, we had that world that we see where the Kamen Riders are basically like warlords, and they're fighting each other. and that never comes to be because of the different choices that the writers make.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, they totally could have pulled that off. I mean, like you said, Kota is like Space Jesus, so he could have like gone into a different universe and pulled the characters from there or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy the fact that they brought him back. As much as I like the character, it just made sense for him to stay dead.
Yeah, as much as I love Takatora and I loved him so much, I wanted him to stay dead because that was one of the few character deaths that I actually cared about. Because, I mean, whenever they killed off Sid, I was just like, oh, wow, they killed off a major character. But I was just like, it kind of makes sense because, you know, he's a minor villain now, so it makes sense for him to be dead.
They killed off, what's her name? Minato?
Minato.
Yeah.
Yep, killed her. Killed off Sengoku Ryoma. I like the way they killed him off, but I was kind of wanting them to kill him off anyway.
Yeah.
And so...
It was a very Saint Seiya death, where he just got plastered into the side of the building.
Yeah, and then falls off like 12 stories or something like that.
Yeah, which happens in Saint Seiya like all the time.
And then there's this gory scene where Coach is just bleeding all over the place. And I'm like, oh, that's a nice hole in your stomach.
Yeah, but of course they can't kill him off.
Yeah, of course.
Now, what's his face? Ryoma, he destroys all the drivers, right, except for one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because he never gets to Michi's original driver.
Yeah, okay.
Michi just sort of kept it with him. You see that in the last episode, because they're like, all of our drivers and lock seeds are all gone. So the little thing that they randomly made up for this one episode, we can't take him out. And then Michi's like, I'm still a jerk, but I want to be a not jerk.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was also like another thing. They had that extra episode at the end, which felt really out of place.
It did. I didn't care for the extra episode. I mean, it's nice seeing an epilogue of everyone living and doing their own thing, but I didn't want to see Michi get redemption.
I mean, he really did. I mean, people felt bad for him, but he never really redeemed himself.
Well, the thing is...
Well, I guess he kind of did, yeah. He helped Gaim, so yeah.
Like he helped them, you know, fight the monster thingy, whatever. He fought with Kota, and basically got, you know, forgiveness from Kota for everything that he had done to basically hurt everyone. And it's good that, you know, Kota's forgiving, because you don't want to have a writer that's just like, you die, you made me angry, so you're just gonna die. You know, you want to keep, you know, you want to teach children forgiveness, but at a certain point, after trying to kill your brother, destroy humanity, and working against everything, you just kind of want someone to die.
Yeah. I mean, you can only forgive people for so much.
Like, you could have had Kota forgiving Michi, and then someone else just killing Michi.
It was also kind of weird, too, how Michi just kind of takes a back seat in, like, the last part of the show. I was expecting him to be the last villain.
Yeah, but I kind of like how they did it with Baron. It makes sense, looking at the context clues that they had from the beginning of the show.
But see, that's the thing, though. He kind of switched. He's like, okay, I want to save humanity. I want to, you know, save these people from dying. And then he goes back to being that guy where he just believes in strength and he wants to create the world in his own image, basically, where only the strong survive. So it was a little weird, I thought.
Well, actually, that's not why he wanted to destroy everything. He wanted to destroy everything so that the strong couldn't overpower the weak. He wanted to create a world where everyone was equal. So he wanted to destroy everyone so that he could create a better world.
Oh, see, maybe I misunderstood then.
Were you watching TV Nihon subtitles? Because that would make sense.
Maybe. Yeah. I could have also been spacing out during the episodes. I watched a couple, you know, late at night, so I try not to watch subtitle stuff, you know, after 9 o'clock because my brain just kind of shuts down, as I've mentioned before, but yeah. So anyways, yeah, and I mean, I can see him being a little broken, a little bit after the fact that Mai, you know, becomes a new type. She transcends time. Yeah. And yeah. So, I guess like I started warming up to it. Like at first I wasn't down with the fact that they made Baron the bad guy, but I did start warming up to it. I still would have liked to see Michi be the villain though. I mean, they spent all this time developing him as a character. You know, he starts off as a sweet, innocent schoolboy, straight A's. You know, doesn't do anything wrong. I mean,
and then he became the wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Michi broke bad. He's like the Heisenberg of the show.
Yeah.
You take the epitome of good and then you turn them. You just show how a person can progress, make decisions, just small choices, and you know become darker human beings. And then for him at the end to just kind of get put in the backseat, you know, we're gonna make Baron the villain, and I don't know, just it felt kind of odd to me.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, the one scene where Michi is just crying over Mai's death, I felt really good at that part. So I'm like, I will drink your tears, Michi.
But see, I would think though, he kind of like gave up everything, including his brother, humanity, and everything else. I would have thought after Mai died, he just wouldn't have cared at all.
Right.
He would have thrown caution to the wind, just, you know, gone berserk and tried to take everybody out. Like, that's what I thought the ending kind of should have been and gone towards. Yeah, for him to just sit it out, like, it didn't make sense. I mean, who knows what the writing process was behind the show. Like we said, they kind of pulled their punches a little bit, so maybe they wanted to keep him around, and they were just like, hey, now Baron's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I enjoyed the show all the way throughout. The ending could have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it's solid. I mean, now we have Kamen Rider Drive to look forward to this week.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know. It's going to be tough to fill these shoes.
I don't know. I think Drive can do it. I kind of like the whole stupid tire all over him thing. So I also like that he drives around in a car instead of a motorcycle. So
yeah. But I mean, what if we run into Kamen Rider Hibiki again, where they're just trying to be different for the sake of being different, and then people are like, we don't like this. Kamen Rider has to ride on a motorcycle. He's got to do rider kicks and all this stuff. So
I'm sure at some point he's gonna get a motorcycle. But I like that he drives around in a car. Yeah. Like one of my other favorite riders. Can kind of see him up here.
Kamen Rider Afro? No, I don't know.
Yeah. Black RX.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you've got, well, technically it's the Magno from Saban's Masked Rider.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tough to compete with that kind of writing, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I still have mixed feelings about Gaim as a whole. I really like that it went in a dark direction, but I also kind of wish it would have stayed lighthearted like in the beginning. Like I felt like the show was going to be a bunch of kids, you know, dancing on the streets, you know, fighting with lock seeds, having Pokemon battles, and then all of a sudden everyone's dying. It felt like it was kind of like how if you're trying to boil a frog, you put him in water and then start turning the heat up so he doesn't realize that he's boiling alive. And I think that's kind of what happened with Gaim. Before we realized it, we were in a really dark show with tons of death, and it was just like, when did this happen?
See, I enjoy darker shows, so for me, it was totally cool. I mean, I've watched enough Tomino shows where he just kills off characters left and right.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of Madoka, which is also by the same writer, which was a lot like Kamen Rider Ryuki, from what I watched. And I watched a little bit of Fate Stay Night, I want to say, or Zero, one of the two, which also the same writer did.
Fate something, one of those Fate shows.
I think it's Zero. So again,
was it with Saber or what her name is?
She's always in those shows.
Whatever.
Yeah, the thing behind them is the generation changes. It's a different year, but usually it's still the same summons or whatever they're called, servants. It's always like Saber and Archer and all those. Yeah. But I mean, his shows tend to be a little bit darker. There's death and stuff, so I was kind of expecting it. For me, it was a warm welcome. I was expecting Kamen Rider Gaim, like you said, it was going to be all happy, people breakdancing, you know, like Pokemon battles and all that stuff, and it blew me away the fact that it just went in such a dark direction. I mean, in spite of the fact that it's like one of the kiddiest themes ever. You have fruits.
Yeah.
So.
Like.
Banana.
Look at the darkness. So much darkness.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, look at my panel lining.
Yeah. Oh, you lined it. Nice.
Yeah, panel lined it. That's what I did, because after I got Kachidoki arms, I was like, this guy is really nice and is cool. I really want those arms change figures now. And so I found out that the arms change figures are now really cheap since the figure arts started coming out. And so I immediately took them and started like panel lining the actual arms.
Okay.
If I can. There
Focus.
we go.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the detail looks really nice, but you did some of that, so that helps.
Everything that's like all dark with definition and stuff, that was all me.
Yeah. So now's the time to buy the arms change line.
Yeah. If you've ever wanted to get the arms change figures, they're now all like $25 to $30 with free shipping on Amazon.
Nice.
So,
everybody's unloading. Yeah.
Just go crazy.
That happens pretty much every year, though. New Kamen Rider, new Super Sentai, people just unload their old stuff.
And I'm cool with that, because that means I get cool stuff super cheap.
Yeah.
And by super cheap, I mean for the retail price that they went for.
Plus free shipping.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other closing thoughts on Kamen Rider Gaim?
I like Baron. I like Banana Arms.
Yeah.
Banana Arms are cool.
He was a very dynamic character. Like I said, I just wish Michi would have been a little bit more at the forefront at the end.
Yeah, but I hate Michi, so.
But you could have seen. I mean, if they would have made him the villain, you could have seen him die.
Yep, I would have been cool with that. But I also liked Baron being the villain because I like seeing him and Gaim fight.
Yeah.
Because it's cool.
His suit was pretty sweet too.
Yep.
His whatever they call it, Overlord type or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His Overlord. One thing that I really liked is that there were Overlords for like every main rider. If you think about it. Because Demushu, the red Overlord, was basically
Baron?
like Proto-Baron, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look, Baron actually used some of the same moves that Demushu used earlier on.
Huh.
Like whenever he did the handy, like, I don't know, whenever he grabbed Kota up and was like slinging him around, that was something that Demushu used earlier on in the series.
Huh, I didn't notice that.
Yep, and Reidyu was basically Ryugen, and I don't know, pretty much every single one of the Overlords had a character that they would they were, I don't know, kind of like a, not necessarily a rival of, but
like an alternate universe version of?
Yeah, it's almost, they serve the same kind of a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really neat.
Yeah. So, the question, Kamen Rider Gaim, Kamen Rider Agito. Which one stands at the top?
Agito is still my favorite.
Yeah. I think I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
I was going to save that conversation from when we talked about Agito, but because even though it had filler, I think the filler was a little bit better done.
Yeah.
For me, I think the thing that killed it was the very last episode.
Yeah, it left it on a really blech note.
Yeah. Had they not done that epilogue episode, would have been perfectly fine. I might have put them, side by side, number one, tied, but for them to just do an episode, hey, it's all happy, people are, moving on with their lives.
Hey, look, a random new Kamen Rider that is an old Kamen Rider that's a boy, but it's a girl inside of something.
It's a demon inside of a girl.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, it was just kind of odd again. That was the movie that came out during the summer, right? The Kamen Rider movie?
Yeah, I don't think it's been subbed yet.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe they're doing like another push for people to go see it in theaters before it left.
I don't think it's in theaters, is it?
No?
Still?
Oh. I don't live in Japan, so don't ask me. Well, you know, sometimes movies will hang around in theaters for a couple months.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Either that or like the DVD's coming out soon, and you know, before Kamen Rider Gaim ends, they're gonna be like, "Hey, remember these characters? Go buy the DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever." Yeah. So, yeah, it just left the show on a sour note. So, Kamen Rider Agito, that's still the one to beat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of Agito, let's talk about something that isn't Agito.
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah.
So we promised people we're going to do Journey Through the Decade. Kind of at the end, we'll do it as a recommendation portion. Rather than just talking about, you know, what random movie we watched or show we watched or whatever. We're going to put some structure to this.
And for at least a few weeks until we get done. But basically we're just going to take each of the Heisei, well, the current Heisei Rider series, and just talk about them, how we feel about them, and whether or not you should check them out.
Yeah. So I was thinking this would be a good segment, because some people might only be watching the newer shows, you know, Kamen Rider Gaim, or maybe they're new to the fandom. Maybe they watch this because they like Super Sentai, and, you know, maybe they want to dip their toes into Kamen Rider. So we'll talk about everything leading up to Kamen Rider Decade and Kamen Rider Decade. So the first 10 Kamen Riders, and what some people call like the Neo Heisei Kamen Rider shows.
Yeah, but I don't like that.
Yeah. The new Heisei, whatever you want to call it. So you want to give us a little recap of Kuga?
Yes. Okay, so Kamen Rider Kuga is basically the story of Kuga, who is fighting against the Grongi tribe. The Grongi are these monsters that sort of just show up. The way it's explained in the show, they're basically evil spirits of like murderers and child molesters and like all these horrible people that just become monsters. And so they're really terrifying. And so there's a belt that they find, and this guy named Godai Yusuke takes the belt and becomes Kuga. And you find out that there's, you know, I don't want to go into, you know, spoiler territory, but there's a mystery behind exactly what Kuga is. But there is, you know, a previous Kuga that they have flashbacks to, who was Riku from the Rinto tribe, which was a competing tribe, but it was just like the good, like peace-loving people. And he was the first one to fight the Grongi. And he basically gets mummified and trapped inside this cave with the Grongi leader. So that's when the archaeologists come back, you know, thousands of years in the future. And they're like, here's a big thing that looks like a belt that's made of stone. And then
they get attacked by that mysterious creature.
Yeah. They call them unidentified life forms, I believe.
Either because I think unknown was Agito, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that's basically the story to Kuga.
Yeah. I mean, without getting into the super spoiler territory, but yeah.
But was there really that many spoilers though for Kuga? The story doesn't progress a whole lot, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dude who fights monsters, and then at the end, he wins.
And he fights that mysterious monster that attacked the, you know, the archaeologists in the cave.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so,
you know, spoilers. He fights the Grongi leader.
I think we lost half our viewers.
No.
They're like, no,
Kuga.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the issues that I had with Kuga. The story was just very simple. Beyond the first few episodes, I didn't think it really progressed too much. But you liked it though.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought that it was fantastic because I don't really need depth in my stories as long as people get kicked real good.
And explode subsequently.
And Kuga has one of the most powerful kicks of any Kamen Rider. They have to, like, clear out city blocks for him to kick a guy.
See, and that I thought was cool when they did that. My problem with that was, though, that was his like first powered up form. In order to fight the last guy, they power him up one more time, and you're expecting him to just go out in like a blazing glory, just freaking destroy Japan with a single kick, and that's not how it ends. Like, I was so disappointed in the final fight. Like, I sat through this whole show. I wasn't. There's some episodes I liked, but I wasn't too into it. And I was like, all right, he's putting his life on the line to get powered up for a second time. This better be damn good. And it's not. I mean, not in the sense that I was expecting, at least. Like you said, he could blow up like an entire city block with a kick. Just, decimate it. You're expecting, second power up. What's he going to do? And he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know some other fans have said, they were disappointed in the ending also. I'm not going to ruin the fight for people that haven't seen it, but just don't expect...
Don't expect giant explosions, but expect a pretty neat fight nonetheless. I thought it was still a good fight.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things about Kuga is a lot of Kamen Riders, whenever they move forms, they have their own little weapons that they use, and they basically just sort of come out of nowhere. But Kuga can't just bring out, a gun or a sword or something. He actually has to get a physical object and turn that object into his weapon. Like, one of his buddies is on the police force, and every time he needs to use his ranged attack, he screams at him, "Throw me your gun!" And so he has to. This police officer has to hand Kamen Rider Kuga his gun so he can then turn that gun into his, Kamen Rider gun.
Yeah. The bike scenes were pretty cool, though, I thought. A lot of the choreographed fights involving the bikes were a little bit, cooler than you see in most Kamen Rider shows. Usually they'll just ride their bikes in the battle, jump off, and you had Kamen Rider Kuga, like, actually using the bikes to fight the monsters. You'd have him, like, bitch slapping the monsters with, like, the back of his bike.
Yeah.
So that was neat. I thought the locations were pretty cool. They used some places that you don't see in other Kamen Rider shows. A lot of the times watching either Kamen Rider or Super Sentai, you're like, hey, I know that place.
Especially now when they pretty much film it in the same area every year.
Yeah.
You can pretty much map out exactly where in Japan they're filming at the moment, because it's like, oh, that was in that other episode of this other show.
Yeah. So that's one thing it had going for it. And, I mean, I'm not knocking the show. I understand why people like it. I can see people that were into Kamen Rider before Kuga came out. They hadn't had a Kamen Rider in a while. So for them, this is like the start of, Kamen Rider being a yearly thing again. And I can see how the excitement would lead people to like the show. But, for me, coming back to it, watching it years after it already aired, and also, unfortunately, watching it after Kamen Rider Agito, I just couldn't get behind it.
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kamen Rider Agito set the bar so high that no other show has jumped it yet.
We'll talk about it more when we talk about Agito, but there's kind of a reason why Agito sets that bar up.
Yeah. So, I mean, and being the fact that this is the predecessor to Agito and the fact that the stories are actually related, I was expecting some of the same good writing that was in Agito, but unfortunately it just wasn't there.
Now, you see, what happened is Kuga came out, everyone liked it, and basically they said, we want another season of Kuga. And they were like, no, but we'll do something similar and make it better. And they were like, all right.
Yeah, you could tell Agito had a way better budget than Kuga. I mean, the special effects in Kuga were pretty cheesy at the beginning. It gets a little bit better.
Especially anytime they use CG. I mean, yeah, it was like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
But still, anytime they used CG, it was awful.
CG or green screen, they were just like, oh my god, yes.
One thing that I did like, though, even though it was CG, is that whenever Kuga would transform, sometimes he would transform piece by piece.
Mid-battle, that was cool, although the CG wasn't the best.
The CG wasn't the best, but it's really cool that, he would punch, and then, like, as soon as his punch would land, his arm would, turn into Kuga's arm, and then he would punch again, then he would get his other arm, then he would kick, and he would get, the other part of his armor, and I thought that was really cool.
It was cool. I'm not going to lie. The CG did detract a little bit from the coolness.
Yeah.
Because it was dated. I mean, I often think, would I like Kuga more had I watched it before I watched Agito.
But I probably would have, because I watched it before I watched Agito.
But see, here's the thing. Had I not watched Agito, I would have never gotten into Kamen Rider. So I would have never watched Kuga.
Was Agito your first?
It was my first. It popped my cherry, and...
Oh. Ooh.
See, that's the... I went from Agito to Double, and then I jumped around. So... see, that's the thing, though, is like, I don't think I could have watched Kuga, even as a standalone series, being the first one I watched. I might not have been as critical on it, but I don't think, you know, I could have been as hardcore Kamen Rider had I not jumped into Agito. But that is a piece of advice for anybody that's looking to get into Kamen Rider. Just power through Kuga before you watch Agito.
Then watch Agito.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're going to talk about Agito the next time anyway.
Yeah. I'm just saying
I just knew that when we started talking about Kuga, it would just turn into us like talking about Agito.
Yeah. So let's talk about how Agito is better than Kuga. No, anyways, I mean, it's definitely, you know, like I said, it's a show they brought out to satisfy people's need for a new Kamen Rider. It definitely follows a lot of the tropes of Kamen Rider. And for me, it still felt like one of the older shows. I mean, looking back at it, obviously I hadn't watched any of the older Kamen Riders then, but it definitely had that feel of being an older Kamen Rider show, where Agito was the first one that I think really took it to the next level, being a more modern Kamen Rider.
You can look at Kamen Rider Kuga and Kamen Rider Black, and they're fairly similar in terms of, you know, what's going on. I guess because this was almost like a reboot, and it was the first time. I don't even want to say that. I mean, it was basically a reboot of the franchise at this point, so they really didn't have anything else to go on except for what they had done previously.
Yeah, all the tried and true like tropes they had from the previous Kamen Rider shows. Like I said, I totally get why the show turned out that way, but I mean, like I said, unfortunately, Agito popped my cherry, and yeah. How do you top that? How do you top that? Yeah, but we're divided on this one. The next one, we're going to be on the same page.
Yeah, we're on the same page on the next one, but this one, I say go watch it because I love it.
Yeah, I say give it like 10 episodes. If you don't like it, you're probably not going to get into it, because the structure's pretty much the same throughout the rest of the show. You have the Grongi, you know, they have their game where they try to kill people, and Yusuke just shows up, kicks people in the face, and there's your show.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for our very first segment of Journey Through the Decade with Kamen Rider Kuga.
Yep.
Yeah.
And with that, I believe that is a show.
I'm going to rotate into camera. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's it. Our very first show after like 2.5 months, 3 months.
Yep. So long.
I know.
We should be on episode like 37 or something at this point, but yeah, we're still on 13.
We should be catching up to the CDX show. But I mean, we've been busy. Work, you know, moving and all that stuff. Weddings. I had a wedding. You had a wedding to go to, right? I think one weekend we tried and it just didn't happen because of that wedding you went to, and I had my, you know, my best friend's wedding and bachelor party. You know, that took up 2 of my weekends. And covering up the bachelor party. Get rid of the evidence. I'm still working on that. So, I mean, I apologize. I mean, I feel like we left the viewers out in the cold. It was such a time of need, I think, for people during Kamen Rider Gaim, where, I mean, for me, it's a good outlet to talk about what's going on. I think it's the same way with you. People join us to hear what we have to say, maybe compare notes, you know, how do they think about the episode compared to, you know, what we're thinking about it.
Right.
But hopefully, we're going to go back to at least every other week, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. My work schedule's set now, so you're good on your work schedule. My moving is, you know, done enough so where I don't have to, you know, take a whole bunch of time or a whole weekend to do stuff, so we can find some...
My moving is at the point where I just stopped caring My stuff is just where it is.
do you still have stuff in boxes?
No. Well, technically, but I don't talk about those boxes. They're in a closet, and I'm just going to let them sit there.
Is that your hidden box of goodies nobody's supposed to know about?
That's my hidden box of smaller boxes. That's where I keep all my Fig Arts boxes.
Okay. I was going to say, because you have your adult collector's toys, and then you have your adult toys.
My adult collector's toys.
Yeah.
I think at this point we need to stop the show. I think we're done here.
We are. So, as I was saying, we're going to try to make this a regular thing again. Thanks to everybody for waiting for another episode. Thanks for watching again. After so many months of loneliness.
Yep.
So, this has been it for episode 13. I'm SentaiSeiya.
Jmann. You can follow me on Twitter's JMannDX. Read the site. I'm there too.
Yeah. And for me, Twitter, again, at SentaiSeiya. Read CollectionDX. Got a review, some Super Sentai stuff. I reviewed the Build Resha. Maybe we'll talk about that next week, because there's no Super Sentai in this episode.
Except for the Super Sentai that we brought up on multiple occasions.
You know what you're going to do? You're going to bleep it. What did they say? So, yeah. Thanks for watching. I think that's it, right? Anything else we want to whore out?
Nope.
Watch the CDX show, read the site. Don't forget to tip your waitress, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. Maybe.
Hopefully.
We need to put a disclaimer. May or may not be another episode next week.
Yeah.